Welcome back. In the last talk, I mentioned that there's two basic ways to learn to meditate. We discussed the advantages and disadvantages of learning to meditate from a Buddhist or traditional meditation group. In this talk, we'll discuss learning to meditate from a neuroscientist or from a mental health practitioner. In the last couple of decades, the neuroscience and mental health community have taken an interest in meditation. They often refer to it as mindfulness, perhaps to distinguish themselves from traditional meditation groups. They typically have studied and borrowed techniques from those traditional groups. They often take a scientific approach and have used EEG, EKG, and MRI equipment and have determined that there are measurable physiological effects of meditation. They have done controlled studies and determined that there are significant psychological and mental health benefits to meditation. Why would we want to take this more modern approach to learning to meditate? Well, as I mentioned previously, there are pros and cons, and we'll start with the pros. For starters, there is generally less bullshit in these modern approaches. These scientists and medical practitioners are less likely to believe in an implausible worldview or some bizarre cosmology. Another good reason to take this approach is that the practitioners have a modern understanding of psychology and mental health issues. If you have mental health issues, then good for you for recognizing that and taking steps to deal with it. Having mental health issues is normal, and being realistic about it and doing therapy is generally a good thing. It is healthy to overcome the stigma associated with mental health and let professionals help. That help might well include learning to meditate. Meditation, however, is not always the answer to everything, and is sometimes good to combine it with other therapy. If you suspect that you might have a problem with delusions or dealing objectively with reality, then a modern scientific approach to meditation may be preferable to a traditional approach. Going to a traditional meditation group might involve replacing one set of delusions with another, or possibly confirming existing delusions, or adding magical beings and deities to your current set of delusions. By the way, if you say you have no delusions, well, good for you. Or maybe that's just another delusion. For the sake of argument, let's say that you have absolutely no delusions. In that case, you may still prefer a modern approach to meditation because it will have less philosophy, cosmology, dogma, and flowery words. Another advantage of a modern approach to meditation is that it is less likely to involve cult-like behavior. Generally, you're not expected to obey this kind of meditation teacher. They are often bound by medical ethics. They are less likely to think that they are your spiritual boss. In fact, they are serving you. Typically, you are paying them. And if you're dissatisfied, you can get rid of them by stopping the payments. You are their client and not their follower or their disciple. Another advantage of a modern approach to meditation is that they've borrowed techniques from multiple traditional groups and they've distilled out what is most effective. They also have additional scientific tools. For example, I have a device called a Muse headband. When you wear it, it's like a headband on your head. When you wear it, it has sensors on the front and side of your head that do EEG readings. Those EEG readings are indicators of your brainwave activity. The headband connects by Bluetooth to an app on your phone that analyzes the brainwaves and determines if you're in a state of meditation. It makes sounds in your headphones to let you know how you're doing. I use noise canceling headphones to reduce the distractions. The Muse headband is essentially a biofeedback device that can help you meditate. It's easy to be distracted when meditating. Instead of concentrating on the breath, the attention will wander, and you end up thinking about something or just daydreaming. This is to be expected. It is completely normal, and you should not worry about this happening. What a biofeedback device will do is just give you a gentle auditory signal when you are distracted and not actually meditating. This reminds you to return your attention to the breath. Besides providing biofeedback, the Muse headband comes with an app that has various classes on meditation from a variety of teachers and styles. I have found these classes to be good, but that's just my opinion. I'm not getting anything out of endorsing the product, but I have found it personally to be helpful and also to sometimes be a distraction. I think it's a good training device, but should not become a necessity for meditation. There are other similar products available on the market, and you can find out about them and also about the Muse headband on the internet. Another advantage of what I'm calling a modern approach to meditation is that they are less likely to oversell it. Traditional meditation groups are more likely to promise some sort of supreme spiritual bliss or nirvana. Modern approaches are more likely to suggest that there may be some reduction in stress. When you begin to meditate, you may hope for something like nirvana, but you're more likely to get a slight reduction in stress and a slight increase in calmness and happiness. With a lower expectation, you're more likely to continue practicing meditation, and it is from a continued daily practice that you will get the most benefit. Well, I've discussed some of the advantages of what I'm calling a modern approach to meditation. So now I'll cover some of the disadvantages. With a modern approach, you're less likely to get a community of people to meditate with. Meditation is a solitary activity that does not require other people. But I sometimes like to meditate with a group. If I go to a Zen center and meditate, it's simply more disciplined and there are less distractions. I can't just get up in the middle and get some ice cream from the freezer. There's also a simple social benefit from being with a group of nice people with similar goals and interests. Another disadvantage of a modern approach to meditation is that it tends to be a little clinical, and it may have less emphasis on ethical and moral behavior. It may not be clear how that would affect meditation, but it is important. In order to be in a calm state where we can effectively meditate, we need to organize our lives in a way that is conducive to less stress. It's not complicated. To put it simply, do your best not to hurt anything. Also, don't take things that don't belong to you. The simplest rule is to love everything. And that will create a positive feedback loop with your meditation. A feeling of universal love will make meditation easier. And meditation will increase that feeling of universal love. It is a major practice and recommendation in almost all traditional meditation groups. It is an important part of spirituality and an important part of having a high quality of life. One more disadvantage of a modern approach to meditation is that it may cost more than a traditional group, which may be free. Mental health professionals are in big demand and are expensive. Now, aside from going to a professional, I should mention that I did find a series on Netflix where meditation is taught. It's called Headspace, Guide to Meditation. There are 8 episodes. I've only watched the first episode, but I'm looking forward to watching the rest. The guy teaching the meditation studied in various traditions, but seems to be teaching in what I call a modern style. I thought the show was good, and I recommend it as a way to learn to meditate. I should mention that the group has a website, which I did not explore too much, but I noticed that they have stuff for sale and some sort of subscription for something that's $15 a month. Also, I should mention that the Muse headband that I talked about costs hundreds of dollars. There are various models at different prices. I think the one I have is called the headband, and at the time it was the most expensive, and I don't know what they have now. You see, modern meditation groups are typically set up as corporations of some kind. They have expenses and need to make money. Now, this talk is getting a little long, so let me wrap up by briefly listing the pros and cons of the modern approach to meditation. First, the pros. 1. There is less ancient mystical bullshit. And I apologize to anyone who is into ancient mystical bullshit. 2. They are more adept at other forms of therapy to go along with the meditation. And 3, they have combined traditional methods with modern techniques such as EEG and biofeedback. And quickly to review the cons, they often have less of a support group. They have less emphasis, sometimes, they have less emphasis on ethical and moral issues. And sometimes are more expensive. That's it. As usual, a lot of this is just my opinion, and I am often wrong. Thank you for watching. Next time we're going to talk about the benefits of meditation and why you should do it. I'll see you then. Actually, you'll see me. Have a great day.